Misting, grouping, pebble trays, everyone says it works, but your plant's still crispy? Well, that's probably because the advice I just mentioned doesn't actually help. Humidity is honestly kind of confusing, and that's because most of the favorite plants that we have, they're all tropical plants and they're from super humid tropical places. We're talking like average 70, 80, even 90% humidity day to day, in and out, almost throughout the whole year. Whereas our homes that we live in, around 40 to 50%, 60% if we're lucky. And in winter, especially with heating on, it can come down to 25, 30% humidity. Way too low for those beautiful tropical plants. So when your plant's edges go brown or the leaves start getting that papery, crispy, dry thing, it's not just a look issue, it's the plant literally drying from the outside out. And here's the thing, watering it more actually won't fix it. Your soil could be perfect, the roots could be happy, but if the air is too dry for your beautiful tropical plant, your plant may still be struggling. So let's start with what's not working, aka the myths. And some of them might actually surprise you. Myth number one, misting your plants. I get the appeal, right? You're interacting with your plant, it feels nurturing, it feels lovely to do. Misting feels like you should be helping in some way, shape or form. But unfortunately, the reality is that you can spray it and it might spike for a couple of minutes, that humidity, but then it's gone. And unless you're actually misting 10,000 times a day every 10 minutes, please don't do that by the way, it's just not making a real difference. And if you overdo the misting and you leave too much moisture on your leaves, especially in low airflow or those cooler months, you're opening the door to quite a lot of fungal issues on your leaves, like black spot or mildew. It's just one of those things that feels right, but actually isn't worth the time or the risk. Okay, myth number two, pebble trays. Now this one, I wanted to believe in, I really did, but then a while ago I heard from a lovely viewer who challenged the concept a little bit. Hello, plant process if you're there. And after some trial and error and using my hygrometer to measure the humidity, I actually found that pebble trays actually make a minimal difference. Which I love them, but yeah, it doesn't really do anything. The evaporation honestly simply just doesn't create enough moisture in the air to affect the environment significantly. It doesn't increase enough percentage points. If you measure the humidity even just 5 centimeters above the tray, it barely changes from the rest of the area or the room. Now, in saying that, I do have 2 pebble trays right now going on, maybe 3. I have one right here, which is why we're filming here, next to a humidifier, tiny humidifier, and there's a heat mat underneath it. And I have another one in my IKEA cabinet as a setup. And yeah, they do kind of help in those situations a little bit, but honestly, it's a tiny, tiny percentage difference. And if you measure the humidity, there's barely anything if you just use that pebble tray. So I still use them, but only part of a bigger setup, not as the hero of the humidity. And honestly, I don't even know now if it actually makes a difference. It's the rest of the area for me that's making a difference. So pebble trays, yeah, they don't do much. Have you used pebble trays before? Was it helpful? Or honestly, is it just a cute little moment like mine? Drop this emoji for me in the comments below if you will admit that yours is mostly decorative too. Okay, myth number 3. And again, this might surprise some, but myth number 3 is grouping plants together with a slight caveat. Now, transpiration from plants, from plant leaves, from plant roots is actually a real thing, don't get me wrong. Plants do release moisture through transpiration, but the effect in terms of humidity around the plants is actually pretty tiny, like a couple of percentage points. And even then, it depends on if you have no drafts, no airflow, nothing else affecting it. In saying that, I do still recommend grouping your plants together. A, because it does look lovely, and B, even though the increase from the transpiration is minimal, it's still better than nothing. It gives you more humidity increase by a couple of percentage points than misting or pebble trays, that's for sure. So for me, I still recommend grouping plants together, but it's not the savior to increase your humidity to 70, 80%. But for me, it's a little bit more like, hey, if it's working a little bit, why not? Every little helps. So that's me. Okay, so those 3, I'm sorry to disappoint if one of them has affected you a little bit emotionally, but let's talk about 3 really good things that you can do that actually does work. Number 1, a proper humidifier. Honestly, the right humidifier changes a lot, but I did make a lot of mistakes when I first started out because I went for more of those cute, tiny little desk ones. They're really lovely. They only hold a small little bit of water. But I hate to tell you, when it comes to humidity, folks, size does matter. Yes, it does. So even that tiny one that sits at your desk might be cute, but it's not enough to help create increased humidity in a full room. It might help with a tiny little area. So I haven't thrown mine away, like this little bit down the bottom you can see here. I use it because it hits the top of this shelf and it'll come back around and it will create a little bit. So for me, for that really small size, it's fine. So for example, if you have an IKEA cabinet, you could probably use a small humidifier in there. That's fine, it's enclosed. But when it comes to a bigger room and you've just got a little humidifier sitting in a big amount of plants, it doesn't do much. It's not that helpful. So make sure you get one that fills the room for the right square footage or square space that that humidifier is meant to fill. You want one designed for actual room coverage. So make sure you check the specs when you're buying it to make sure it fills the space that you need it to. And when it comes to humidifiers, placement also matters too. It's not about having mist in the room. You don't need to fill the whole room up with mist. It's about where that mist goes. So again, this isn't in the middle on the ceiling. This is near my plants, right in the middle of all my plants. I like to create a little humidity zone because I know the further out from that humidifier you go, the less humidity you get. So you can make it fill a room if you want to. Again, just make it a little bit enclosed. But I usually put humidifiers, or I usually recommend to put humidifiers close to the plants to create a little bit of a zone in that room. And my moisture loving plants, or the ones I really want to take care of, my favorite kind of plants, like this strawberry shake you just can't see off the shelf, or my beautiful alboy here that I need to sell actually. They go near a humidifier because I just know that humidity helps a lot of my plants. And then the final thing when it comes to humidifiers is consistency. So blast for 30 minutes won't fix your humidity issues. You need to keep that humidity sustained, especially during daylight hours or when plants are most active. So the best thing you can do is actually get one of those smart setups. And for example, this humidifier actually measures the percentage humidity in the room. And I've got it that as soon as it drops below 60% humidity, this turns on. If it gets up to, I think it's 75% humidity, it turns off. So I've bought a really good quality one. This is Levoit, or Levoit, I don't know how do you say the brand, Levoit. I love their humidifiers. They don't have an Australian plug for all my ANZ friends, but they work fine on our voltage, so you can actually get one. You need a good quality one that fits the space that you're trying to fulfill, that, if possible, has a smart attachment or a smart part to it. So for me, there's no guessing, there's no dry spells. I can be really confident because I know the plants just get the consistency in the humidity that they need, and it's not going to drop below a certain point. Just make sure there's water in there because I forget to fill mine a lot. Okay, so humidifiers work. I think that's an obvious one. What's the next thing that works? Well, I mentioned it a little bit before, but enclosed environments work wonders for humidity and for plants. If you're trying to grow plants that really love high humidity, things like jewel orchids or ferns or calatheas or anthuriums, then perhaps a closed environment is going to be your best bet. And look, you can have different kinds of options for aesthetic reasons. You can buy simple glass cloches, you can grab an IKEA cabinet, you can get greenhouses. God, I still would love a greenhouse. Grow tents, you can get beautiful setups. You can set up your own cabinet as long as it's enclosed, or you somehow get rid of all the air gaps a little bit. But the truth is, you don't need anything fancy. Clear plastic containers and storage boxes and even a plastic bag over your plant works just as well. And the difference can be absolutely stunning, especially if your plant's not doing so well and it's a little unhealthy. You want to bring it back to growth and you want to bring it back to beauty. Then putting it into a plastic box or a big, large, loose plastic clear bag over it will help it come back to fruition. The enclosed space just traps the moisture, I'm sure you know that, and just creates a little bit of a microclimate. And it's actually a lot more efficient and a lot cheaper than trying to humidify an entire room. But of course, the choice is yours. Honestly, I do love my IKEA cabinet and I barely need to do anything. The air stays steady, the plants are full and healthy, just don't get pests get in there. Trust me, been there, done that, don't want that again. And when it comes to clear plastic containers, they are such a great trick for propagation. A mini humidity box for me is like creating a cozy little nursery for your cute little cuttings. Oh, I love it. I love propagating with plastic boxes and plastic tubs and containers. They root faster from what I have seen, they stay healthier, and they are perfect growing conditions for when your little babies are just very vulnerable. So yeah, enclosed spaces and humidifiers for me are the two things that work the best. Now, I did mention a third. It's a little bit of a cheat sheet, I guess. And the third choice when it comes to humidity is be strategic about the plants that you choose. If all of the above sounds just a little bit too much effort, a little bit too gadgety, I do kind of get it. There's a lot to look after still. As I said, humidity can be quite confusing. But sometimes the best thing you can do is stop fighting the problems that your home's natural climate is creating for you and just choose plants that suit it. There's many stunning plants out there that require far less humidity than you might think. ZZ plants, snake plants, Hoyas, succulents, and for me, philodendrons do just beautifully in my nice natural home environment. That's around, for me, 50 to 60%, admittedly. Look out. Now, if you're thinking, okay, where do I even start with this? Then this is what I kind of did about 2 years ago now, just to get a little bit more understanding and perhaps be in a little more control of my humidity around my house. I mean, the first thing you've got to do is actually measure the humidity in different parts of your home, especially where all your plants are. Buy yourself a hygrometer. You need to set some up around the house or maybe just change it around and then leave them there for maybe a few hours or a few days and let them measure the humidity around. If you've got it connected to your phone, you can just track it accordingly. That's really cool, actually. Get into the plant groups, get near your windows, anywhere where you have plants set up or where you want to set plants up. Pop your hygrometers and measure the humidity. And you might even want to measure the pebble trays versus the non-pebble trays. See if it makes a difference for you. Honestly, find those natural humid setups, those pockets within your house where humidity can stay a little bit longer and be a little bit higher, where your humidifier will be most effective, if that's what you're going to use. Once you've listed them all out, once you've got a little bit, then of course you can start moving things around, right? But you might want to try clean up your plants, get rid of all the damaged edge, give it a little bit of a haircut. You can trim off the dead crispy edges if you like. It won't harm the plant. Don't worry, go for it. And you'll probably be able to measure again if that humidity is working better for you in those new zones. And make sure, especially as I said before, move those plants that are more sensitive to humidity or the ones that you really want to look after, your babies, your lovely favorites. Move them into the humidity zone first. Once you've readjusted your home, maybe you've moved every single plant in your house, apologies for that, but once you've redone your home and you found those humidity sweet spots, then you just need to watch and adjust accordingly. That makes sense, right? So if you're seeing less crispy edges or any new growth, you can tweak your setup. Make sure you watch your hygrometers. Is it going up too high or down too low? If it's going up too high, you can pull your humidity back. You don't need to waste the electricity or the water. As I said, smart setups actually work well, but also measure your hygrometer. And you can use a smart plug as well if you don't have a smart humidifier. Just attach it through a smart plug and you can turn that on and off once you know when the humidity measures up and down and stuff. I hope that makes sense. Just tweak your setup based on what you see and what your plants are telling you. And then from there, you can just build your routine. Use timers, group your plants together as you need to. And most importantly, just make sure the setup is realistic for you. Don't try and work with a setup or a system or a smart something if you don't want to. Do what feels right for you because you'll have to maintain it forever and ever while that plant exists. So make sure it's easy enough for you to maintain. Honestly, the difference that proper humidity makes to your plants, even just by maybe 10 percentage points increase, is truly amazing. I get really surprised sometimes how much I forget about humidity and then winter hits and then you're like, oh, that's right, that's an important thing. But if you still get crispy edges and you're not sure whether your humidity is going to suit or maybe it's too sunny in that spot, there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to plant care. Then I've created a tool exactly for you. Honestly, there are plants out there that stop all of us. No matter how serious a collector you are, there's always that one plant that you just can't quite get right. For me, it's frickin' begonias. I'm not going to give up. But I have created a tool. I'm using it myself. It's worked wonders for me so far, and I want to share it with you guys. And that is my digital tool called My Plant Buddy. It's basically a custom ChatGPT digital tool that asks you a couple of questions and then gives you advice on your specific plant, on your specific home and climate, and your experience level. So whether it's your very first plant or your 50th try with that one drama queen, that one bloody drama queen, then this tool, I promise you, will help you finally figure it out what it really needs to thrive in your space. Because sometimes what you hear is too generic or a bit confusing, or you get mixed messages like misting plants. A lot of people say it is effective. I really don't think it is. So grab this tool. It'll give you honest, factually based advice based on your unique setup. I'll drop the link below if you want to give it a go. And if you do grab my Plant Buddy, I really want to hear from you. Let me know if you have questions. Drop everything in the comments below for me. Honestly, humidity shouldn't be a mystery. It just needs a smarter approach. It needs a fact-based approach. Forget the feel-good hacks. Focus on what actually moves the needle and increases or decreases your humidity enough. Let me know in the comments if you've tried any of the things that I have mentioned before. What has worked, what doesn't work, and what you are testing or trying next if there is something there around humidity. And if you've got a plant friend who's still misting daily like a ritual, then can you just do me a favor? Obviously press the subscribe button before you go, but share this video with them, help get this channel out there for me, but also let's help build an amazing community of plant lovers. So many of you that are out there are so lovely and beautiful. I love all your comments. Keep them coming. And thank you for joining me at Leafy Lovin'. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you in the next video, bringing you leaves, love and laughter all week long. Have a great week. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.